The Hat Trick Hockey Podcast is brought to you in part by Claro Media, helping businesses and personal brands alike grow and thrive in the digital world. Whether it's sports, events, real estate, and more, Claro Media has your back. Contact today by emailing info@claromedia.ca or follow and send a message on Instagram at Claro Media. That's CLARO.media. What's going on, all you beauts and beauties? Welcome to the Hat Trick Hockey Podcast, brought to you by GL Heritage, the official beer of HTH. I am your host, Brett Hedges. Give us 5-star reviews wherever you listen to the show. Follow us on social media, and make sure you visit our new merch store. We got some brand new threads on display, and especially the one that Tristan's wearing right now. Beautiful little shirt representing our HTH hockey podcast athlete Santiago Jimenez, who's on a tear with the Essex 73s right now as they are in the Schmalz Cup semifinals. On this week's show, we go around the PJHL. The Windsor Spitfires are down to their last out after going up 3-0, and the NHL playoffs are underway, and I couldn't be happier. Welcome back, guys. I was on vacation last week. Thank you for keeping me informed on everything that was going on throughout the weekend. Let's dive in right into the PJHL. What do you guys say?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. With me, as always, is Tristan McGuire and Anthony Gaudet, the creator of the show. The Essex 73s, after dispatching the Petrolia Flyers, had to wait a little while to find out who they were going to play, whether it was the New Hamburg Firebirds or the Grimsby Peach Kings. That ended up being a 7-game series. And what do you know? The New Hamburg Firebirds win that in 7, and they come to Essex for game 1. They win the flip to get home ice advantage, and they come to Essex in game 1, and they steal a 2-1 win in overtime in game 1 to really take the momentum in the series. But a few days later, after the long weekend, the Essex 73s went up to New Hamburg and scored themselves a tight 2-1 win as well. We are all knotted up at 1-1. What are your thoughts about the opening 2 games of the series, Tristan? And what have you liked so far?
Well, this feels like a real extenuating feeling out process between the two teams. Mm-hmm. Neither team has really shown their best at all. You could tell just by the way they're playing that they're both playing cautious while also just trying to limit the other team's opportunities as opposed to trying to score. And by virtue of that, neither team is really generating much high-danger chances. Although last night, the third period, holy smokes, New Hamburg was all over the 73s, all over them. 2 no goals called off by the referee, one off the pipe, the other, Colhoun, it was a wraparound. He grabbed it right on the line, saved that. That is, I'm confident in, as it was the referee's final decision. And then penalty shot with 5 minutes left. Oh my gosh. So Martineau, there's a breakaway, clean breakaway. Martineau is forced to take him down.
Yeah,
it was going to be a clean chance. Yeah, but the man was all alone. So the referee gives the signal, you're going to center ice. And
for a second, is there anything more exciting than when a referee points to the center of the ice to signal a penalty shot? It's almost like that scene in Big Daddy when he's watching it and the kid's asleep and he's like, yeah, but he doesn't want to go crazy. But it's the most exciting play in the sport, right?
Yeah, you could tell all the fans in the Wilmot Rec Complex there were fired right up to see the ref signal that after the 2 no goals. And who was it who went to? And do you remember who it was who went to center ice for that shot?
I do not.
Okay, but I know it's one of their faster players. Anyway, he cuts in. He's a left shot going in against Colhoun, who catches left. So generally, left shots are going to go blocker side, which is what I was expecting. I was like, yeah, he's going to cut across and try and get him moving left to right, go blocker side. But he did that exact move, elevates it, but Colhoun stacks his pad with his paddle reached back, just deflects it and it goes wide. Great save with Brogan, stayed with him the whole time and took away enough in the net, keep it a 2-1 game. And he fended off that heavy press from the Firebirds in the third period. What a press it was. Essex looked dead in the water.
Yeah.
They were
I
sitting.
Yeah, like I thought that they were going to score for sure. I believe there with under a minute to go, they had a nice shot in the slot,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought we were going to overtime again, and it just shows how just just the slightest bounce the other way could have been 2-0 series lead for New
Oh,
Hamburg.
oh yeah. They had the save and Brogan came like 10 feet out to cut off the angle and it went up and over him and slid like just past the left post. I'm like, I was freaking out. I'm sitting there with my dad going, they're gonna score. They're gonna score. And they pull the goalie and even had a couple more chances. Matt Dom from the point threw a couple on net that Brogan somehow saw. And credit to their goalie too. He made a lot of good saves, Declan Germal, but
Yep.
it seems the difference is Essex is starting to find out how they can get the puck to the net. There was not nearly as many block shots by New Hamburg in that game, and obviously more scoring chances for Essex. And the trick has been our screen has been terrific on him. He's, I think his stats say he's 6'1", but that's probably being generous. He gets screened by the right guys because we're a big team,
Hmm.
and he just can't see the shot. Nothing he can do. And it seems that we're going. Well, I don't want to give away the secrets here, but the low glove sweet spot is what it's been through the screen. And last night, Fleming on the power play in his return to the lineup, uh,
Hmm.
well deserved. He rips a low shot, and he wasn't shooting for a tip on that one. He just put it straight in, saw the lane, and yeah, later on, second period, it's Gabe Piccolo with a nice wraparound. Beautiful wraparound. He caught Germal stuck on the post. I don't know if people listening will remember Adrian McBride got stuck on the post similarly versus Blenheim back in game two versus the Blades, but it's the same thing, right? They try to push back, and all of a sudden they're running into a net instead of their blue paint. So
Mhm.
he got there, but Pick was just a second quicker. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and in a game like that, you need your overage players and your captain to come up big, and that's what Piccolo did there. He's been very good in the playoffs there.
Mhm.
And you go back for game three on Wednesday before coming back home to Essex for game four. I like what I see from both sides. I like what I see from the new Hamburg Firebirds. You could tell that they've been in this position before. They were in the Final Four last year. Solid program. And at this time of year, it's not going to be, 5-6-1 games. You're going to get your 2-1, 3-2 hockey games, and it's just pure
Yep.
beauty. Ant, what have you liked what you saw from the opening two games of the series before we take a look at maybe what's going on in the other series?
Well, one of the things I like too is there's no blowouts. Like the games are really close, tight hitting. Games like that, boy, stay out of the fucking penalty box. How many times do we have to say it? That is going to be an issue, which I have a feeling will be cleaned up by the time we do game three. I just want to say real quick too that game one there was so like it seemed like for the first probably period and a half the teams were just feeling each other out. There was a lot of big hits, so like they're hitting. And when they got into overtime there, I want to give credit where it's due. Jordan Jacobs won
Woo!
ripped top shelf glove side
Yeah.
beautiful shot for them to win game one. So that was a beautiful shot. You can't really get mad on goals like that when a guy goes down, makes a nice move, and just rips it bar Mexico. It's not really too much you can do there. So we were down one early, but I think that kind of gave the boys a little bit of a shot in the arm. You guys have to figure too. I know everybody's going to say it, but they had a long break too, waiting
Hmm.
for this series, so that's going to come into play a little bit as well. Not using it as an excuse, but I'm just saying it's there. They won that game hands down.
Oh,
Yeah.
New Hamburg was the crispier team
Oh,
in game
100%.
one, 100%. And even
100%.
Tony said that in his post game press
Yes.
conference or post game press
100%.
availability.
And then game two, it just seemed like everything just kind of flipped. Like we woke up, kept getting penalties though, but
Yeah,
we
six penalties.
yeah, but Flem luckily found the back of the net because I was starting to get a little worried. I believe Flem, well, that was the first goal of the game, right? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and I was thinking too, the first goal of the game in this series in each game is going to be huge.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to get on the board first, maintain that lead, RN first type shit, right? So, but then as usual, this team, they don't give up. They get in on the forecheck, they get to the grimy areas, they're a thorn in your side, and then bam, it's tied. And then luckily we had Captain Clutch there with the fucking like wraparound. Did we ever need you there, pick? So came through in the clutch there. So
Yeah.
I can't really complain with the way the series has went. I'm looking forward to the rest of the series. Essex fans, Firebirds fans, buckle up. It's going to be a tight one. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't
Yep.
wait.
Game 3 is
Yeah.
tomorrow
Yeah.
up at the Wilmot Rec Complex once again because of that home ice advantage. That's how it's going to work out in both series.
Yeah.
The whatever you would say, the away team in the series is going to play their game 1 at home, and then there's the 2 on the road, and then it goes back and forth from there.
Yeah.
So, can Essex steal 2 on the road? I think stealing 1 was the goal.
Oh, yeah.
We got that, and stole is the correct word because even more than game 1, last night I would say New Hamburg deserved to win that game, especially that third period. Essex needs to learn to play 60 minutes of hockey because the first 40 we controlled pace of play, especially the second period. We're a second period team. You can really tell that's how we pick up the pace. We score our 2, 3, 4 goals in past games. That's what it's been, and then we just kind of we settle down in the third and try and lock things down. But in a 1-goal game, you're taking a big risk trying to just sit back on your laurels for a whole 20 minutes of the third period. And that cost us in game 1 and almost in game 2, but we were able to squeak it out. Brogan, Colhoun, and the boys walking into game 3 with a tie series and a clean slate. So
one of the other things too is this team, this Firebirds team, they block a lot of shots, man. They get in the lanes. I bet you game 1 they blocked 40 shots.
Oh yeah.
Like easily. Like I was really, really impressed with that on just how they play in their end because they really tighten up in their end, man. They block a lot, they get in lanes, good sticks too. Like this is not saying anything to anybody that we've played before, but this team right here, New Hamburg team, is by far the best team we have been on the ice with this year. I would say that, yeah.
Yeah, I would say they're very similar to the Lakeshore Canadians.
It's like a heavier hitting Lakeshore.
Even in their play style when it comes to, I don't want to call them vultures, but they're very opportunistic when it comes to their scoring chances. They wait for you to make the mistake. Like they're gonna tread water and boom, one turnover, it's in the back of your net. And that's how it works with fast teams like this. Like, I did get a name on that player who took the penalty shot. Jake Thompson is his name, and he's very, very fast. He is one of many players on this team who have been here at least 4 years. As a result of their minor hockey club, thank you to Brendan Jones for pointing this out to me, actually. Jonesy told me since he coaches against them, they're a double-A club, and most of their travel team moves on from double-A and goes straight to junior C. And they've played with each other their whole childhood. So each class, or I should say like each age group, is just another age group of 4 or 5 guys who have played together. So they know what they're doing on the ice. And I'm not positive, but I believe some of the coaching staff coach both as well. So,
well, with smart.
Yeah, if there's a feeder system like that, they usually put some of those junior coaches, maybe some of the assistant coaches are their U13 or their U14 coaches and things like that. Yeah. Quick thing on Jake Thompson here, quickly looked it up. 66 goals in the regular season over 4 seasons in New Hamburg, and he's got 30 playoff goals, actually 29, and he has 11 during this run this year. So if they were going to choose one guy to take a penalty shot, it was going to be him. The kid's got almost 100 OHL, got almost 100 PJHL goals.
Yeah.
And over 200 PJHL points. He's got 154 points in the regular season and 55 in the playoffs. So they picked a burner to take that shot there, and Brogan Colhoun comes up with a big save. The one thing I wanted to say that the numbers told me is that in the second period, New Hamburg had that power play. They only got 3 shots in the second period, guys, but they scored on that power play to make it a 1-1 game. And then in the third period, like you said, Tristan, they pumped 11 shots on goal as opposed to Essex's 8. So Essex had 33 total shots and New Hamburg had 21, but they got 11 in that third period. So a big push from New Hamburg, and I think the credit should go to Essex for being able to close out that game, close out a tight game on the road to not go down 2-0.
Yeah.
And that goes down to coaching and, having your best players be situationally aware. Um, and, having the ref call off a goal always helps too. So,
Well, not only that, you got to think, yeah, you got to think. Posts don't count as shots anymore, do they?
No.
true. Yeah, that's no, they do
They
not.
hit 4 or 5, and I am not exaggerating.
Yeah.
Like 3 shifts in a row off the crossbar, and I'm like, holy crap! And that's not including the 5 or 6 near misses they've had just wide of the net, like slot
Mhm.
chances. Essex was scrambling.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
looked like a mess out there.
These guys wing it from everywhere, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like even that power play, you could tell Essex was like, we had this issue where it's like the final 20 seconds of the power play, you think you already killed it.
Yeah.
And we were just sitting in our zone, and it's a period of the long change, so you can't change. And it's quick turnaround at the blue line. They walk in, shot. I'm not sure who the defenseman was. It doesn't matter. I don't want to single anybody out. But right in front of Colquhoun, shot goes up, hits them in the chest, and it dropped right down back in front, and it was left on a tee. And that guy just banged in the secondary chance, which Brogan had no chance. He was already set for the first shot. Second one was 2 feet to the right of it, so that one slips in. And it was that guy actually had just come back from suspension, Owen Bruder.
Yep.
So he comes back for them, and he as well, his third season this year with the Firebirds. I'm curious now. I'm gonna have to look through and see which guy wasn't a New Hamburg Firebird last season because they are pretty much the exact same club.
And you know what, guys, that just breeds, that's a strong program that has, a central mindset of, okay, what do we want to do? Like, these are the kind of players that we want to develop and have on our team. And, that's kind of what we saw in in the community when we were growing up. A lot of guys that were from Essex used to just play for Essex. A lot of guys that were around the corner from Lakeshore played for Lakeshore, right? It was almost like an extension of your travel system that you had some junior C guys, right? Obviously, you would sign players here and there, but it seemed like, especially like when me and you were growing up, it seemed like at least 3 or 4 guys from Harrow were playing on the Essex 73s
Yeah.
every year,
Yeah.
right? And
Fredder, one of the Zavitz boys or something
yeah,
like that. Like
Josh Zavitz, what a legend. Remember that guy?
Josh played there. I think Joel was there too. I think he played
Yeah.
there as well.
Tristan, we'll tell you the quick side story. The Zavitz family from Harrow, 7 boys, all named with
7.
the 7
All
boys,
start with J,
all
and
start
they're
with J, their
all
mom and dad.
fucking nail guns, every single one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh,
Josh ended up playing for the Toledo Storm while he was studying medical school at Canisius College.
we
So he
should
was,
we should get Josh on the pod with us.
yeah, I guess he's a family doctor somewhere now. Like that.
He'd be great for
He,
like hockey.
yeah. I
Medical
remember he was just, and Tristan, this guy was jacked. Like when
Yeah.
we were, like he was the biggest dude in
Chiseled.
town. Like,
Chiseled.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
you'd see him going for a run. Like, oh, don't you live like way down on the Walker? Oh yeah, I just ran into town for a little jog. He was playing 73s, playing Leamington Flyers back in the day. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
Josh, and you said is Zavitz?
Zavitz, Zavitz.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was good.
What a
Josh
name.
Zavitz. So
I'm
that's a name.
I'm gonna maybe I should find out next time he's home or whatever. We'll get him like in
Oh
person
yeah.
because it
Yeah,
doesn't justify until you see him in person.
Oh yeah, just
He's
just
a
a
nail.
good,
Just
just
a
a
nail
good,
gun,
just
dude.
a
It's
good
insane.
person, dude.
Yeah.
They're awesome guys too.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Any thoughts on going into here? I'll just give you guys the schedule for the rest of the series, then we'll quickly talk about Napanee and Hanover before we talk about the NHL because we'll leave the spit stuff till later.
Mhm.
So game 3, like you said, Tristan, is tomorrow from the date of this recording, Wednesday, April 23rd, 7:30 at New Hamburg. That's the second straight game in New Hamburg. Game 1 was in Essex. So game 4 will be back in Essex on Friday, April 25th at 7:30. I'm looking forward to seeing a big crowd at that game on 7:30 on Friday.
Yeah.
They're going to
I
have
hope
to go
it's back.
back up to New Hamburg on the Sunday for April 27th for a 3 o'clock game at New Hamburg. So anyone that's looking forward to maybe watching that game live on the phone or back home, whatever, that's a 3 p.m. start. Game 6, if necessary, we'll be back in Essex on our regular Tuesday home ice game, April 29th at 7:30. Game 7, if necessary, we'll be back in New Hamburg on May 1st on Thursday. That's 7:30 as well. Gentlemen, your thoughts about the remainder of the schedule? I mean, obviously Wednesday is a huge game, but I'm thinking that even regardless of the score, regardless of who wins game 3, game 4, I believe, is going to be an absolutely massive tilt in Essex on Friday night.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Just got to
yeah,
stay out of the box, play our game.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
for sure.
And in a nutshell.
Yeah, the referees have certainly been calling a lot this series, and uh, I like it as long as it's equal both ways, and it pretty much has been both games. So, Essex difference was both teams capitalized last game, and yeah, the Firebirds, both their goals, two of the three goals they've scored this series has been power play goals. So
Mhm.
if you don't take a penalty, they've scored one goal on you in the past 7 periods. So
There you
gotta
go.
be disciplined.
For sure. The Napanee Raiders hold a 2-1 lead over the Hanover Barons in a very exciting series in the other Schmalz Cup semifinal.
Yep.
Game 1 was a 3-1 win for Napanee at Hanover, and then they went home for the next 2 games. But Hanover in game 2 took a 5-2 decision there. Then on Sunday, April 20th, Easter Sunday, he is risen, and the Napanee Raiders took home a 2-1 win in overtime there. And I think, guys, this series is exactly how we thought it was going to be. If Napanee was going to keep it low scoring, they're going to be very successful in this series.
Yeah.
If Hanover pops a couple goals early, it could be very difficult for Napanee to come
Yeah.
back. And I think really fun hockey that I've seen in the first 3 games in that series.
Also, too, that game was 1-0. Game 3 was 1-0 until 16:54 of the third period, and Ben White scored to make it 1-1. And then
Mhm.
he ended up being the one scoring in overtime as well at the 11:15 mark, too, in
Beauty.
that game. So Ben White had both.
Yeah, he's their
There.
captain.
Is he?
Yeah.
Captain Clutch, I see then, right? But he was obviously first star. But yeah, they looked like too in this game. There was a lot of penalties too, man. So maybe the league said something to the refs like, "Hey, let's clamp down on play," and they had to have because there was
14 penalties in this
The
game.
the goalies were absolutely outstanding. I
yeah,
was watching that game. Hartley and
Vale.
Vale,
yeah.
stellar. And like you said, it was 1-0, and I'm thinking Hanover badly outplayed them. And I mean, like, no offense to Napanee, it looked like they had one line that they were constantly double shifting, and they were just trying to get him going. It's Carr. Plays with White. Those two together are
Yeah.
they're terrific.
Yeah.
Very fast, very skilled, and they got the matchup they wanted. White scores, and then it goes to overtime, and I'm like, there's no way, because like to that point, Hanover had dominated, but that was deflating for them. Overtime, Napanee all over them, hitting, forechecking in the offensive zone. Sure enough, it's an odd man rush down low. One timer, Ben White, no chance for Derek Hartley. And suddenly, 2-1 they win, and 2-1 the series lead goes to the Raiders. Not too many people,
Raiders.
not too many people expected that. Um,
I think this
other
guy
people.
did.
Yeah, I know this guy said, give me Napanee in 7."
I did say
Well,
Napanee in
first,
7. I just like their style of play. Hanover's very exciting to watch. They've got a lot of they got a lot of firepower on that lineup. But I love me a defensive gritty team with the black jerseys. I love the gray and black jerseys on there.
Mhm.
Give me the Napanee Raiders in there. But also, Hanover's a hell of a team, man. They're a
Well,
lot of fun. And they have a
all
beautiful
four
rink
teams
too.
left. All these teams left. Like it's anybody's game.
yeah, yeah,
For sure.
it's close for a reason, right?
Exactly.
I don't foresee, and now that we actually get to see a good look, I don't think there'll be a blowout in the Schmaltz Cup final either, depending on who the matchups are. I could be wrong, but these teams seem pretty tight. Um, and it's cool to see the different styles and how they perform. I would say New Hamburg is something of a style that we've seen before.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know as much about Hanover. I can't really think that they play a very open style of skating and running gun that I've never really seen, but Napanee is like the Blenheim Blades, but their goalie is like John Chartrand. Like they have a
Yeah.
goalie who has won them both games. Like like the between game 1 and game 3. So game 3, Vale makes 33 saves, and game 1, Vale makes 35 saves.
Huge.
So
Just a couple.
68, he's let in 2 goals on 70 shots. Like,
That's cracked.
yeah.
And we were talking a little bit before. Both of these goalies have some Junior A and Junior B experience as well,
Yeah.
which goes to
Yeah.
show the skill level that these two teams have in net.
hmm Yeah, like Hartley got a call up for a short while with the Collingwood Blues. Then he played with the Elmira Sugar Kings before dropping down last year with Hanover. Been playing in the playoffs for them last year and then regular season this year and playoffs. And the Trenton Golden Hawks for a brief time had Logan Vale of the Raiders, so
Mhm.
who you mentioned is from that Trenton Belleville area. So yeah, we'll see.
Yes. In the deep dive that I did about these goaltenders, Hartley has over 40 playoff wins
Oh,
for in the PJHL, and Logan
that's
Vale has over
insane.
30.
Gee.
So, and like their save percentages are in the 920s and like low twos. So I don't think
Yeah.
we're gonna see. Yeah, we saw 5 goals from Hanover in game 2, but I don't think we're gonna. If I don't think we'll see that very often.
Well, these you got to think Hanover won their division last year,
Hmm.
and also, sorry, I'm just listening to something going on.
Yeah.
We can edit
Podcast.
this portion out. But anyway, uh, yeah, all these clubs have been to this Final Four before, except for us, right?
Yeah.
So we're kind of the odd man out here. These other guys know, oh yeah, household names. Napanee comes out of the division or conference. Uh, New Hamburg, South Conference champions back to back. Hanover, North Conference champions back to back. And then we're kind of the dark horse here.
Yeah, you guys haven't been here in quite a
73.
while.
We finally we conquered our demons and we're here. Now we got to prove it, right?
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
So that series once again is 2-1 Napanee. Game 4 is going to be Friday, April 25th at 8 o'clock in Hanover. And you can catch that on the stream and of course on cknx.ca. I believe they do the radio call there too. Sunday, April 27th will be game 5 back at Napanee. That's a 6 o'clock start there. Game 6, if necessary, would be Tuesday, April 29th at 8 p.m. at Hanover. And game 7, if necessary, similar to Essex and New Hamburg, would be Thursday, May 1st at 8 p.m. and Napanee would hold that one. And honestly, guys, I feel like that's going to be the biggest factor is having home ice in game 6 or 7, right? It's
Yeah.
obviously it's going to go distance. It's going to go 6 or
But
7, and it's going
but
to
no
matter who
team has
shows up
won at home yet. So except for Napanee, actually. Sorry,
in the home. Yeah,
Napanee
yeah,
did win. Yeah, barely. That
yeah.
game, holy smokes! It was. What time of the game did he score that at?
It was the
That last goal
11:15
hit?
mark.
Yeah. Okay. So there was 55 minutes of Hanover domination, and then it stopped there. It was crazy. I'm watching the game, going, "Well, it could be 5-0 Hanover right now." The power plays they had and everything,
Hmm.
but no. The Raiders hang on, and it's those teams that can hang on that are going to win, right? Also, oh my gosh, I've got to send you guys something. So, never want to badmouth a team, but people have always kind of talked about how Clarington can be a little chippy.
Yeah.
Oh boy, do I have a nugget of a clip to send you guys. It's probably the worst play I've ever watched in a hockey game. And
What, like a two-hand?
it's from the Schmaltz Cup final. No, this guy who I'm not going to say his name, but I will say justified the fact that he hasn't played since then, even though he went 2 points per game in his last season with the Clarington Eagles. He's an 03, so he would still be playing the last 2 years, but this is 2 years ago. Wellesley and Clarington. Wellesley is up 3-2 with like 4 seconds left, and there's a whistle behind the net. Clarington knows they're going to lose.
Yeah.
So this guy gets mad for no reason, goes over, cross checks in the back of the neck, like not on the shoulders, right in the back of the neck. Gives him 2 really good shots, this defenseman on Wellesley. So he turns around and they're going to have a fun little conversation, right? He starts skating after him, and the linesman's there, kind of like, hey, hey, hey. And there's a cluster of guys moving away from the net and cluster of guys around the puck. As the camera's panning to see the two skating away, and this guy's yelling in his ear, like, why'd you just cross check me, right? Like, or saying, hey, you're going to lose. This guy on Clarington turns his blade over on his stick and turns around and stabs the guy right in his neck
Oh,
underneath his mask, like right here. And this poor kid goes like immediately stiff and falls face first on the ground. And as he's falling to the ground, the guy takes a second swing on him, on his backswing.
whoa.
And the ref is right there and just goes like this. And that was the last game of hockey that guy's ever played.
Oh, that's like
But
crushed
holy,
larynx, crushed
like
windpipe.
the kid was down there for a long time. They had both trainers come out. Credit to the rest of the Clarington team. They like surrounded the guy immediately and were like waving, like, "Hey, we didn't want this. That was one player acting on his own."
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, like just like it wasn't like he just kind of like was gave him a butt end in the face or something, or like even turned around and cold cocked him or something. It was you watch him take his forehand and turn it over like a sickle and just went like right up under here. And yeah, anyway,
That's assault, brother.
I tell
it
you,
is assault. I bet you there was a court case that
if
came from
I'm
it.
on the ice and I see something like that, the Weldon glasses are coming out.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
yeah, your helmet's coming off
yeah.
right away.
And to be clear, this is not from this year. This is from 2023 we're talking about.
Yes.
Yes, this is
This
yeah,
is no one on
2023.
this is no one on the ice this year. This is 2023. This is an isolated
I've
clip.
seen
Don't
that
talk.
someone
Yeah.
wrote on
We
the
like Clarington.
Yeah.
on that unofficial site of the PJHL that one of the coaching staffs, someone got a gross misconduct before a game started.
Napanee, right? Napanee's coach?
I don't know. I don't know what was happening. I'm not starting shit, but
Neither do I.
that
I don't
out.
know what happened. And you know what was weird? It was almost like the CIA came in and like redacted a bunch of information in the comments because 6 of the like 10 comments in there were just a period. That was it.
Okay.
No other comment. It was just like a period, and I'm like,
Someone's doing some dirty deleting.
what is
Yeah.
what is that supposed to mean? But how do you? That's not if you delete something, the comment just gets removed.
Or it was
It's like
edited.
there's some kind of subliminal message here. Like I don't know.
hmm I will say that the only game misconduct was for a checking from behind at 4:20 of the third period there. So that's that. There's no other mention of a misconduct or anything on the site or on the in
Okay,
game.
well
So.
that could just be people talking, and we
But
don't want to
But if
be.
it's
We
a
don't want to
gross
be a rumor
misconduct,
mill.
but if it's a gross misconduct, there's no penalty on the board. That's something that just gets written up later. It's a
Yeah.
disciplinary thing.
Side note, quick before we move on to I think NHL
Yeah.
is when is Austin Gouvermont back?
So we lost both of them for 2 games.
Okay.
So no Nate Dowling or Austin Gouvermont for game 3.
For
They
what something that happened in the game too.
Goovy got
yes.
a
So
major for checking from behind.
checking
Oh,
from
that's right. I
behind,
did see that. Sorry. Yeah.
and Nate Dowling took his 3rd head contact of the 2024-25 season, so he got a automatic 2-game suspension. So yeah. But last night it was Jackson Blair, I want to say, got called up to play,
Yep.
and also Santiago Jimenez obviously played. He played a really good game. He was playing with Crawford and Blair as well, I believe. So they looked really good together. Everybody honestly looked solid, and good to see Luka Milicevic playing. For anyone who doesn't know, I think well, I won't say specific injuries, but he's got a upper body injury that he's playing with right now. So
Yeah.
credit to him for stepping on the ice and playing a good game.
For sure. Travis Rive had 2 assists in game 2 as well. So
Rive,
he's
yeah,
been
he
playing
played
very
top
well.
line in lieu of Austin Gouvermont. So yeah, good for him.
Been doing very well. Good job, Travis. Keeps going up. And Flem, not bad for a shutdown guy. You thought
Yeah,
I was going to
still
leave you out of this one? You thought you were going to be not being called a
still gotta
shutdown
you
guy
gotta
today?
score over 5, Flem. It's the way she goes, bud.
That's the way she goes. Well,
He'll put 2 in next game or something.
Then I'll say
Exactly.
he's somewhat of an offensive defenseman.
Yeah.
He's a 2-way D. He's a
Yeah,
2-way.
there you go, 2-way.
game 3 will be April 23rd on Wednesday. Game 4 Friday, April 25th, and game 5 would be Sunday, April 27th. So that's the next 3 games for this series between Essex and New Hamburg. Gentlemen, should we move to the NHL where things are getting hot and heavy right off the bat?
Yeah, I'd love to.
I wasn't able to pay attention too much to the NHL stuff because I was on vacation, but I know that the Maple Leafs won game one of their series. I know that Montreal lost game one of their series to Washington. What has stuck out to you guys about the opening weekend of the NHL playoffs? Go ahead, Ant. You go
Well,
first.
well, Ovi scoring in overtime was pretty cool. Considering you want to know something too, his first ever overtime goal.
Yeah.
In the
Isn't that
playoffs.
fucking weird? Think about it. All the times that Ovi scored, he's never scored in overtime. That
You
is
know who has more
messed up.
overtime goals than Alex Ovechkin? Josh Anderson. That's weird.
It's like what? Um, dude, you want to know what else I thought was pretty cool was how sick was that whiteout in Winnipeg? That
I
was
love
sick.
it. You
Them
know what? Jets are sneaky. I'm not rooting for them. I'm not gonna just abandon teams I cheer for, but I'm saying like it's hard not to cheer for them. They're a fun team. They're a Canadian team. They got a really good support base and fandom, and they got one of the best goal scorers in the world, Kyle Connor. That guy can rip,
Mhm.
and he
Mhm.
did in game one, game winner for them. I called that. I'm sitting with my dad. I'm like, you don't understand how good Kyle Connor is. 20 seconds later, he rips a one-timer.
Yeah, Shifley scored in that game too, so it seems like the big dogs are getting it done there
For
in
sure.
Winnipeg.
Yeah, and
Colorado
the
too
key.
beat the shit out of Dallas in game one. Like that was Tristan, what's going on? That's your other squad there, Dallas. But it was like a fucking beatdown.
Yeah, no, mm, did you watch it?
No, but I'm looking at the score. It's 5-1.
Yeah, it was a very weird game because Dallas, I would say, kept with them or controlled the pace of play for half the game. It's just they weren't converting. You know, the difference was Mackenzie Blackwood. He played outstanding for Colorado. That's his first ever playoff appearance in his career. So all the teams he played on were pretty crap at the time he was with them. It was the Devils and then the Sharks, and then this year he got traded for. I think there was a second round pick in Georgiev that went to the Avs, and in return they got Blackwood. So huge trade for them, massive win for them. Uh, yeah, but Essex, Dallas responds in game two.
Mhm.
They come back, they get an OT win. The most random person you could have asked me, you could have given me 15 guesses of Dallas players, and I would have never guessed this guy to score. Colin Blackwell, fourth line center for the Dallas Stars, wins it. Colorado gave them that win. You know what it was? He shoots the puck, it hits a body, right? Or it's actually saved by Blackwood. It's sitting like 3 feet in front of Blackwood, just sitting there. And three different Avalanche D-men, or D-men, players in the defensive zone, skate over the loose puck. And Blackwell's just looking around, no one's on him, and he skates after and roofs the loose puck, top shelf, calls game. And oh man, I love my dream is to go to the American Airlines Center because boy was it just hopping when he scored that goal. It's the best arena in the league, and now they've got green glow sticks up each staircase, so it's just awesome. I love the whole vibe of that arena, and the state of Texas, yeehaw, right? So
So you're saying we're going to Dallas for the next round, and
yes,
Ant's paying
and
for it.
Oh,
Thanks, Ant.
let me get out of the cast first.
but
Honestly, if they go for into the conference final or like the Stanley Cup final, I'm down for a day trip to go see a game.
I
imagine
mean,
it's like Stanley
Dallas.
Cup final and they play Toronto, and it's just a little.
Dude, you
That's
could get a flight out of Detroit. We could leave at 7:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. We'd be there by 12:31. Go watch the game, catch the early flight home,
dude, I'd
and we're
love that.
set.
I'd love to watch a
Catch
Stars
the
game.
red eye home.
Whatever. That'd be fun. That'd be the first time I've been to Texas. That'd be fun for it. That'd be super, super fun.
What are you guys thinking of this Battle of Ontario so far? Like, I know we've only played one game, but I mean, Toronto was just complete
Yeah, dominant.
domination in that game, right? From start to finish. That was one of the more complete games I think I've seen them play all season. I've I've watched. I understand whatever. Tristan, I already know what you're
No,
gonna.
no, 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 no,
It's
no. I'm not gonna.
Ottawa,
I
but
was gonna say the annoying part is Linus Ullmark plays like prime Patrick Waugh against the Red Wings, and then he was no better than some Swiss cheese in that game one.
So
Like squeaky goals he's letting in.
fun stat I seen on him is he's played 10 career playoff games, and 6 out of the 10 games he's allowed 4 or more goals.
Wow.
So,
Oh no,
you know what I mean? That's not a stat that you're exactly going to want going into the playoffs. And
that's fine.
Brady too is like almost non-existent. Like he needs to get in there and be the thorn in the side of the Leafs, and he needs to be a bully essentially on the ice is what he needs to do because like I even seen Willie fucking hitting for the Leafs. Like even the Leafs goal scorers are like hitting a little bit, you know? So Ottawa has to get physical with Toronto. I think that's one of the only ways that they can really break Toronto down. And Toronto's decor has done an amazing job of keeping the puck away from the nets and blocking shots and getting it out of their ends and stuff like that. So this Tanev guy is fucking he's something else for Toronto, man. He's been good. And like
Brandon,
oh yeah, and like OEL's been good there too. Like seems like actually, yeah, OEL. I think he scored, didn't he? Yeah, he did. He scored the
Ekman
first
Larson,
game.
yeah.
So I don't know. I think Toronto just made the right moves this year. I wasn't really too confident on them in net, and I know it's only been one game, but you can't like look at the fucking numbers, man. I can't really complain. So
Oh.
Toronto's got they and the key with Toronto too. What did they keep doing over the past couple of years? They kept losing game one, and then you feel like you're chasing the whole freaking series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now to come out and win game one makes it
You're
a
the
whole
driver's
different perspective. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like now
For
it's
sure.
now you have I don't want to say stranglehold, but now you got a little bit of a grasp on the series against the
Mhm.
Senators team. And you know what? This Senators team, while they're down, you have to throw dirt in their eyes because if you don't and you allow them to come back into it, you're in a whole world of trouble. Because if Allmark gets hot, Brady gets going, you know, they got some young guys over there, they get bopping around. This is going to be a series. So Toronto's going to have to keep them out of it.
Yeah.
Yes. So the day of this recording, game two would be tonight, Ottawa versus Toronto. Do you guys want to talk about the Edmonton Oilers? They came all the way back, but they gave up a late goal to lose 6-5 to the LA Kings in game one of their series.
Oh,
And then we could just kind of set the table that way for the rest of the NHL stuff.
that was
Yeah,
nuts.
well, the difference in that series is LA outclasses them in every regard except star power.
Hmm.
And it's those guys who tried to put the team on their back. McDavid, he was flying that whole game. He is trying his absolute hardest to try and bring that team back into it and win that series or win a cup. I seen a lot of people online predicting, Ant, you're muted. Um,
Keep going.
No, I know.
okay.
I was just telling my dog to stop barking or whatever.
Oh,
You're good,
I'm
bro.
like, who is he
No, if
talking
I'm
to?
on mute,
But
you're good. It's a good.
okay, but no, I really feel that LA is the better team here, and I picked the LA Kings in six to win that series in my bracket, and I'm sticking with that. I don't think Stuart Skinner cuts it in net. I don't think Evan Bouchard cuts it on the blue line. His back check on the last goal. Oh, what are you doing, buddy? It's almost like it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Dano comes back and just rips. I don't know what more to say, but Darcy Kemper should be a better goalie than what happened in that game one. And I just think if all those factors fall into place, who's a beast? Quentin Byfield.
Yes.
Holy smokes. Beast. Physically and on the ice.
Well, he's a big dude too.
That's what physically means.
Yeah, no, but he's like, it seems like over the past year, year and a half that he's really like, when he first came into the league, he was quiet. Now it's like,
Yeah,
boom, he's like a completely different player.
you're right.
You
And
get
with,
100 games under your belt, that helps.
Yeah.
with the size too, bigger guys take longer. So good for him. But I was curious. Do you guys, either of you, predict Edmonton to have a long run? Because I was surprised by so many people online saying this is Edmonton's year to win the cup. I'm like, what?
Not a chance.
Okay, good.
Not if they play like that.
I'm glad we got logical people in this uh, podcast trio. But do you guys, what's your final four prediction?
Oh, come on.
Oh, I think it's a
Like,
little early for that, but
um,
let me take a look at the
I'm
names
gonna
again.
go, as much as I hate to say it, I like Colorado
hmm
and Winnipeg in the West. And in the East, fuck.
That's. Oh,
In the
you're
East,
saying all the
oh fuck,
first
I'm gonna
rounds.
say it. Don't ask me why, but I think we could be. Is that possible? Would it be
No,
possible?
They would play the next round.
Who's that?
Winnipeg and Colorado.
Oh, would they?
Yeah.
I got Winnipeg and Las Vegas in the conference final.
Okay, I
Oh,
like that too. Yeah.
I like that. I like
It's the
that.
two number ones. You can't really go wrong with that.
No, yeah, that's
And
safe.
if I'm gonna placate our Toronto Maple Leafs fans, I say that this is the year that the Leafs are gonna go to the conference final,
Mhm.
and I think they're gonna match up against Florida again.
I would like to see that.
Mm.
If Toronto can keep the injuries low and like, you know what I mean? Injuries
Mhm.
low is going to be huge, obviously, for any team it's going to be. But like, and if they can get the help in net and they play well in their end right now. So if they can, I know it's a lot of wheels turning, but I don't know. Toronto fans, like, this year is kind of different. It's,
Mhm.
and you won that first game. That first game's huge. So we'll see. It's only one game. I'm not
Well,
going to try to off yet, but I'm just
I got the
saying.
Leafs out in the first round,
Oh,
but I got Ottawa in 7 just to make Drew happy.
I was saying Sens in 6 to be a dick, but let's face
I
it,
think
Toronto's probably going to win the series.
they
So
are, but in the odd chance that the Leafs do pull a choke, it'll be a game 7. So that's what I voted for. My final four in the West, as much as it pained me to say it, I have Colorado beating Dallas first round in 7, and then going to the Western Conference versus. Now, here's my hot take. You know who I think is going to go on a run? Minnesota Wild.
okay.
They're a sleeper pick.
Mhm.
I
Great
know because
fan
they're playing
base.
Vegas, and Vegas is a wagon. But hear me out. Kirill Kaprizov, in my opinion, is better than anyone on that Vegas Golden Knights team. Obviously, he's just coming back from injury. Might take him a little bit of time. But if he gets rolling, and you got Philip Gustafsson in net, I think Aiden Hill is a very overrated goalie. I know Henrik Lundqvist just ranked him like third as the third best goalie in the playoffs or something, which is crazy. But I really like Gustafsson if he stays hot, and I like the defensive style of the Wild. They've got Jared Spurgeon, their captain, great defenseman, little guy. Jonas Brodin, one of the best shutdown men in the league. I just like the way that team's set up. Two-way centerman like Joel Eriksson Ek. He had like a 4-goal game, one of the last few games to close out the regular season. So I really like the Wild's makeup, and I think they're one of those stable, and they're not really dominant in any category,
Mhm.
but they're like an A minus in goaltending, defense, and offense, and that's enough sometimes to balance out and get you to a conference final.
So the
I
Wild is
agree.
essentially your kind of sleeper team.
Yeah. Sorry?
So the Wild are your sleeper
Yeah.
team.
Yeah. And then in the East, I've got Tampa Bay facing Carolina in the
Yeah.
conference final. Can't go
Okay.
wrong with Tampa Bay. They know how to win in the playoffs.
You're right.
Even if Toronto gets out of that, I think like they come out of the first round, I think Tampa Bay can get their number in the second round. And I think the Canes, they've been to the conference final uh
Can't get over the hump.
2 years standing.
I think so, yeah.
Maybe in the third year before it was in the second round. They always make it out of the first round. So we'll see. But I really think that the Canes are going to make it to the Cup final this year.
I
But
hope you're right. I love Rod Brindamore.
his son just scored
Yeah.
in his first
NHL goal.
NHL game. Skylar Brindamore.
Sick.
Big family resemblance there. They look quite similar. But
No one else in the world could look like Rod Brindamore.
No.
no,
Okay,
that
like
guy's.
that is
Oh, he's got
legendary
a.
schnoz.
I know his face looks like a horse. His nose is all his nose is all broken like 4 times. Poor guy. But Rod the Bod, he used to be jacked. Well, he's still
Oh,
jacked,
He still is.
but
he like
but
single-handedly brought that team to the Stanley Cup Finals,
yeah,
and when they won, and then of course the year that they played Detroit in the like it was just him and a bunch of other dudes that were on that team,
Yeah.
right? Or yeah, what was it? Brett Hedican was the big
yes.
defenseman on that team. Yeah,
But also Cup final, I say it's Colorado and Carolina, and I think Colorado's winning the Stanley Cup this year.
all
Just like
right.
the way they're built.
I mean, it would be cool if, Gabriel Landeskog is off for this long and they come back and, even if he's just there, even if it's a healthy scratch most of the time,
Hmm.
I think having him there will be a big help for them as well.
Well, for sure.
Um, we only got a couple minutes before I got to take off. I think we should leave the Spits stuff till later. We'll just react to the Spits game later tonight. Do you guys have any thoughts going into Game 7? Obviously, Tristan, you picked this. You picked Kitchener coming back and winning this. We thought that a 3-0 lead for Windsor, that it was going to be all over, but UC Ahokas and the Kitchener Rangers have fought back 3 straight games, and they have been the better team in all 3 games.
Mhm.
And now we're down to our final game of the series. What do you think, guys?
The Kitchener Rangers know how to win game sevens.
True.
Windsor Spitfires need to worry about winning a game at this point, blown a
Or
game
in a-
7. So
Yeah.
they're hurt, they're
Yeah.
bleeding. They're bleeding
They've
from
had
the
a
throat right now, limping into this game 7.
Mhm.
If your local fans show up as much as you can, support the Spitfires. I want to see them advance. They're going to be playing. What game is that? That's at WFCU on when?
Tonight.
Tonight. There you go. I predict a
I think it's
4 to
going
2,
overtime.
4 to 2. Oh, okay. I'm going to say 4 to 2 Rangers win it.
Okay.
And but the Rangers promptly get swept next round by the London Knights. So
And
I'm going the opposite way. I think hopefully we're going to wake up. Um, now that we got some of the big dogs back into the lineup last game, I know we still lost, but home crowd tonight, Game 7. I'm going to go 5-3 Windsor win, and I'm looking at Green Tree. I just think he's going to be the
whoa.
difference.
Yeah, well, he was unbelievable
Yeah, but he's
back
going
in
to
the first 3
he's
games,
going to
but
put the team on his back tonight, hopefully. So that's my
yeah. Yeah, we haven't
or
been able to record since the series started. Well, we recapped Game 1, but
yeah.
yeah, Windsor went up 3-0. In Game 3, Liam Greentree has 5 goals, like
yeah,
unreal.
I know.
Uh, the injury bug has hit Windsor hard. Greentree sat out Game 5. There's some sort of illness. I don't know the name of the illness, but I hope that he's okay. And they definitely missed him when he was not in the lineup for sure. Elia Protas can only do so much. I think that in Game 7, if Windsor gets a goal early or a goal or two early, if they get on the power play and they get one up or 2-0, it's going to be a big difference because if Jackson Parsons gets settled in his net, should be a
That's what I'm saying.
long night. And if
Yeah.
he could win 1-0, 2-0 on his own.
Is
Yeah.
there any relation to Tyler Parsons?
It's a great question.
Goalie for the London Knights? He was a good goalie back in the day. Yeah. He might still be in the NHL or minors somewhere, but
Mhm.
um, yeah, look out. Their goalie has played well. Costanzo, he started to fall off with each game. He just looks more and more uncomfortable. Which, fair enough. When the team in front of you has a completely different look every night, it's hard to understand what's going to happen in front of you or unfold. Yeah,
I mean,
I just don't think it's a Spitz year. This roster still has a great makeup to contend next year.
mhm.
But yeah, like you got Spellacy out, you got Belchet's out. Your your top nine's looking pretty thin right now. Luckily, Morneau and Greentree have been putting the work in, but yeah, we'll see. Well, and it doesn't help that we haven't received much help from the blue line.
Yeah.
This
Well,
series of
two of our defensemen are 16-year-olds, or three of
I
our
know,
defensemen are
Yeah.
16.
and
And two of them made their OHL debut in this series. So
and
it's
Cristofaro, he's kind of gone to sleep this playoff run. He hasn't done very much, unfortunately. So yeah.
yeah. Should be interesting to see Game 7 tonight at the WFU Center. We will be reacting to that later tonight, and maybe just adding a little bit onto the end of the show after this.
Mhm.
Um,
But go
any other?
Spits, go Spits. Don't get me
Of
wrong.
course, hey man, hometown
For
team.
my
I'm
local
wearing the,
team,
I'm
it's
wearing the
the
red shirt. Let's do it. Let's have some
highest
fun
level of hockey in the
in the country.
Windsor Essex area. So
It's a lot
I
of
mean,
fun.
for a team in our vicinity, yeah, 100%
Yeah,
I'll root for them. But I don't think it matters who comes out of this series. I think the London Knights are going to trounce them. The Knights are an absolute wagon this year. They've swept. Have they swept both rounds?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it might be
Not lost
very
a game.
much. Yeah, I know they're scary.
And
Especially
do you want? Oh, sorry. Go
sorry, I
ahead.
was just going to say their one defenseman. That kid looks so good, Bristevich. I think he's gonna be like his brother. He'll be so good.
Mhm. And you've got the last word before we cut it off and we continue later tonight.
I think I'm gonna I want to give you the last word actually to say some words about your aunt, right?
I can do that later tonight.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that later tonight. Yeah, I just hope they can play a fucking all around game, man. Just don't get blown out. Please don't get
Yep.
blown out. Don't get
That's
blown
why
out.
I'm thinking it's going to go overtime.
Yeah.
Uh,
So hopefully, I don't know. I
Shout out to my buddy
flip a coin.
Skip Kip. He sits right
Skippy.
behind the net, so
Yeah.
hopefully he gets some
Skip
good
always
footage of
has
the goals
the
tonight.
sick footage.
Yeah, great seats.
All right. Anthony and Brett here at the end of the Windsor Spitfires game. Game 7 goes to the Kitchener Rangers in overtime. Luke Ellenis is the hero for Kitchener. He scores the only 2 goals of the game for Kitchener. Windsor gets a goal from their rookie Carter Hicks, the defenseman who was playing up on forward based on all of the injuries to the Windsor Spitfires lineup. Kitchener completes the reverse sweep. Windsor was up 3-0 in the series, and then they lose the next 4 games. But I will say that this game 7 was very entertaining.
Yeah.
And if they were going to go out, if they're going to go out on a reverse sweep, may as well go out fighting in overtime. I'm sure a lot of Windsor Spitfire fans aren't happy, but we weren't even supposed to be here in the beginning. So, Ant, what are your thoughts with the Windsor Spitfire season in a nutshell and their 7 game loss to the Kitchener Rangers in the Western Conference semis?
Well, overall, going into this year, a lot of them, or a lot of fans, let's say, or whatever, expected them to, I don't think they expected them to be as good.
Mm.
So by them coming in, roaring start into the regular season, when just marching into the playoffs, and you know what? Even though they were up 3-0, whatever, that's a good Kitchener Rangers team, man. And a lot of firepower over there. That goalie was fantastic too.
Yeah,
And
Jackson Parsons was unreal. He was the
he,
difference for sure.
oh, 100%. And yeah, he made a few nice saves, but man, Joey, he made some 10 bell saves just to keep Windsor in this hockey game to give them a chance. If he didn't play as good, it might have been a blowout. Like
You're 100%.
it might have very well been a blowout. Sucks for like some of the, the overagers and guys aren't going to be back in the OHL next year, but I mean, it was a hell of a ride, man, from us doing games to this, to lose game 7 in overtime where injuries, were kind of beat up a little bit. There's maybe few guys that if this was like regular season, they probably wouldn't be in the lineup.
Hmm.
Guys that are just trying to fight through it. And it was a hell of an effort, man. You can't, you just go down swinging. That's all, that's all you can do. You don't roll over, you go down swinging. And to me, that's exactly what they did. So it sucks that it's over. Like no more hockey there for the Spits, but it's always next year, man.
For sure. Yeah. Sometimes, no matter how hard you work, and sometimes no
Mhm.
matter how hard you prep, and you think you do the right things and do that.
Mhm.
Sometimes in life, you just come up a dollar short. Everybody.
Just boom.
Yeah, and so the Windsor Spitfires fall in their 7 game series to Kitchener. Hey, give Kitchener all the credit in the world. UC Ahokas, their coach, got OHL Coach of the Year. A lot of
Mhm.
people at the beginning of the season and didn't even think Kitchener was going to make the playoffs because there were so many
Yeah.
uncertainties surrounding their locker. I mean, surrounding their roster. Jackson
Mhm.
Parsons plays a humongous role in their success this year. And it just seemed like they were just a deep team that got contributions from some big names at the right time. Luke Ellenis
Mhm.
scores, I think, 5 or 6 goals in this series. And that was the first time that he scored play goals in the playoffs in the OHL. So, big time players make big plays on big days. And
Mhm.
Kitchener wins this game. Final shots of the game, Windsor had 40 shots on goal and Kitchener had 32. Um, talk about the overtime a little bit. It looked like Windsor was pressing toward the end
Oh,
of the third period there. They were really trying to get that winning goal. We saw the drive by Cole Davis late in the third period that
yeah.
ended up making it 4-on-4 because he got a penalty and the defenseman I think also got a penalty. So we got some open ice for a little bit. A couple of interesting chances at the end of regulation,
Yeah.
and then at the beginning of overtime, Windsor had a bunch of good chances in the first 4 or 5 minutes, and then after that, and it was probably
Yeah.
5 6 minute mark. It was all Kitchener after that, and Costanzo, like you said, was keeping them
Stopping
in.
breakaways and like, and
He
two
was crispy, and there's just that last goal by Ellen.
and
He
and
shot
you
on goal, and it just chipped by him.
you called it too. You're like, it's gonna be a shitty one. And then it looked like it hit, was it Cristofaro who was there?
I think it was Cristofaro that tried to block the
Yeah.
shot. It like kind of looped over, and
Oh,
then
it
Ellen
hit his no, it hit his glove.
yes,
So the shot hit his glove and it went like straight down and essentially like bounced. And before it got to Joey there in net, the guy just chipped it up over him.
yeah,
Like that was all it was. Like it was just a play like that. I think if that shot gets through clean, I think he probably stops it. Probably a good
for sure.
shot. But when you get a little bit of a change up like that, and that's all it takes is for one little break. I just got okay. I don't know if you like felt it or not, but when they right before that goal, when they got the puck at the line there and they skated in and it was 3-on-2 right away, I thought, uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
Windsor was not scrambling, but you could tell that Windsor was playing on the back foot a little bit, to take a
yeah,
soccer term.
yeah. It just sucks. Shitty way to end it, but that's hockey, man.
For sure. It's a 50-point turnaround for the Windsor Spitfires. Greg Walters in his first season with the club is behind a humongous turnaround. Obviously,
Oh,
getting a guy like Ilya Protas on your line, in your lineup makes a big difference. Having Ethan Belches, the number one pick in the OHL draft, makes a big difference. But Belches, for the last few games of the regular season and for all of this playoffs, was not available. So I think we got a really good look at the supporting cast that we're going to see in this organization for the next 3 4 years, right? Saw guys like Grady Spicer and Andrew Robinson make their OHL debut
yeah.
in the playoffs, and they looked pretty decent. The guys that played for the Windsor Spitfires during the regular season, Carter Hicks, JC Lemieux, um, Ethan
That
Belches, like we said, we saw some good things from them, and even the junior B call-ups that we had. Max Brockhurst got called up after the LaSalle Vipers were exited out of the Junior B playoffs. Like those kids can play, and when they get a little bit more experience, I feel like this team next year will be very, very strong. I don't think they will have as much strength in their firepower, so to speak, because they might lose Greentree, they might lose Protus to the pros.
mhm.
Um, and who knows kind of what the situation is for some of those guys that could be
I
overagers that may not be uh, brought back to the team. Maybe some guys that may not,
I mean,
may thought may
you would think Protus and Green Tree, they're probably gonna go pro, right?
most likely, yeah.
Like you would
But
assume, right? Like they both signed entry levels. Like
it's almost certain.
the writing's on the wall. You know what I'm saying?
They're
Like that's what
super,
I
super,
mean.
super talented.
Yeah, and like they're at least ECHL, at least going to the coast, like at least.
Yeah,
Very minimum. I bet they're probably in more into the AHL, but because
yeah. I
AHL now
forget.
is like super young.
Yeah, I think it could depend on the rules. I believe if the player is not 20 years old yet, they can still go back to the OHL if they don't make the NHL roster.
Oh,
So that could
sweet.
be maybe the saving grace for Green Tree.
Hmm.
But honestly, if I'm the Washington Capitals, I'd be calling up Ilya Protas for as long as I can, and uh, and I wouldn't give him back until it's absolutely necessary that they
Hmm.
have to send him down or make a move somewhere like that, because I feel like a kid like that it will definitely provide some valuable depth for a team in the NHL or an AHL squad, because it's different
Even
because Protas didn't come over here until he was 19,
but
or sorry,
even
18, right? So now he's 19 now. So it's
mm,
this is more of a question for Hockey Google, Tristan McGuire, to
yeah,
fill us in on the specifics about who can come back and when. But
yeah.
for the most part, and I feel very confident that this Winter Spitfires team next year will be very similar in regards to their overall success next season. This 96 points that Windsor had in the regular season this year, I guess it was the fourth best in the program's history in terms
Oh,
of
shit.
regular season. And that's a team, and that's with a team that, so to speak, at the beginning of the year, people didn't think they were going to win the division, considering that Saginaw was in the division and they had just won the
Mhm.
Memorial Cup. But you know what? Big season for this Windsor Spitfires. It's disappointing that it ended this way. But man, what else can you ask for? You guys got a crazy amount of experience. You got 12 playoff games. You got five against Sault Ste. Marie. You got seven against Kitchener. You were up 3-0
Yeah.
and you gave up
You,
four in a row. So you definitely learned some lessons the hard way there. And those lessons are only going to be learned by coaches and by players by
mhm.
losing. And that's the
Yeah.
only way that those lessons stick. You don't take home hard lessons by winning most of the time. You take home hard lessons because of the losses that you take. So lots to
100.
build off for this team. Very exciting team to watch this year, but some of the warts that they had during the regular season, finishing teams off, right? Like sometimes we'd see a two-goal lead in the third period, it would go away, and then they would lose in overtime. And sometimes they would give up a late lead and then they come back and they would win in overtime. And that would kind of like paint over kind of
Mhm.
the mistakes that we saw. So I feel like a lot of lessons were learned by this team. I feel like we were a big benefit, like the viewers were a big benefit being able to watch this team. Very
Mhm.
exciting product, very exciting team. But I feel like it's a good position to be in when you can have a division winner like this, have the number two overall, have the number two seed in the West, and still you can still want more from
Mhm.
this team. And I feel like if the right buttons get pushed and they make the right moves, this team could be right back where they were this year, and competing to be one of the best teams in the Western Conference, if not the entire OHL. Do you feel me?
Oh, 100%, dude.
Mhm. Well, any other thoughts about the OHL? Barry, there was a second game seven in the OHL tonight. The Barry Colts defeated the
Mhm.
Kingston Frontenac 6-4 to win that series 4-3. So it's going to be Barry and Oshawa in the East final, and it's going to be Kitchener and London in the West final. Just off the top of your head, any thoughts about those two series going forward?
Let's just pick games and winner.
Yeah, games and winners. Okay, so
I'm gonna go Colts and six.
Colts in six. Okay, I'll go Oshawa in five because Oshawa is really hot right now. They
Okay.
lost two games to Brantford and then they won the next four.
Hmm.
And Oshawa's got a bunch of teams that they loaded up. They loaded up a bunch of players this year. You got Colby Barlow, you got Andrew Gibson from
Yeah.
LaSalle. It'd be fun to see Gibby there. And this team last year was in the final, right? So
Mhm.
they got Beckett Senecki as well. So he's the Anaheim Ducks draft pick.
Yeah.
So Oshawa is going to be my pick in the East, and I feel I all the money in the world is going to be on the London Knights to win this series.
Oh.
They have 13 NHL draft picks on their roster, but I'm hoping that the Kitchener Rangers can at least win one or two games and send it back to Game 6 in Kitchener and something like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Kitchener forces a Game 7 as well. But I ultimately do think that the London Knights will win that Western Conference
Yeah.
final.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that too. Six games as well. Both series and
Okay,
six.
okay, you're gonna go London in six, and I'll say, you know what? I'm looking for the upset. I'm gonna go Kitchener in seven.
Ooh.
So I hope that
Okay.
we're right. So if I'm right and you're wrong, you owe me dinner, okay?
Done.
Awesome. Um, any other thoughts about the NHL, or we're just gonna save it for
Can
the
we just hit on something real quick? Did you see Larkin in his end of year presser?
No, go off it. Yeah, I saw a
Oh,
little bit of it, but you
yeah,
you
just
started
kind
out
of
the
the
game and everything. So tell me your thoughts about that, and then we'll finish it up.
so for anybody that kind of didn't see it, the gist of it, he kind of pretty much said like we didn't do anything at the trade deadline, which could have gave us a boost and this and that, and the locker room felt it and this and that. So to me, it was a little bit of a shot at Steve Eiserman. Now I know I've had a couple of my buddies and shit like what when they heard my comments on the last episode when it
Yeah.
came to Steve Eiserman,
Hmm.
and it's just. Like it's so hard, dude. Like like I get what he's saying though, because like if you're the one on the ice and you're like know that, but that's the thing too is this coming from upper management, from like ownership, or is this coming from the general manager's office? Like that's another thing too that has to come into play, because I know I've heard through the grapevine that Yzerman wanted Steven Stamkos at the trade deadline, but management wouldn't let him spend the money to get him.
Yeah,
So I know that was a big rumor. So like, is Steve trying to do stuff and ownership's not letting him and this and that? Like, let's like we still have cap room. What are we doing? Like, let
yeah,
him fucking say, listen, this is how much money you have. Whatever you want to do with it, that's why you're the general manager,
yeah,
and just let him do it. And then guess what? If it fucks up, you fire him. Like, because then you say, then it was on you, buddy. I gave you the reins. We failed. We didn't do this. We didn't do that. But if you're not giving him the resources to do his job, to put a better product on the ice, to give the guys a little bit of a shot in the arm coming out of the fucking
or,
trade deadline,
yeah,
when you're in a fucking playoff hunt, at
mhm,
that time they were.
yes,
Like, what are we doing, man? Like, that's the type of stuff that pisses me off. And honestly, I do not blame fucking Larkin at all. I don't blame him for saying that, because maybe he's at a shot to Steve, is that a shot to the ownership group saying, hey, like, why don't we spend some money and get some players in here? Not overpaid fucking vets. Like, let's get some young blood. Let's get a 40, 50 goal scorer in here. Another one. I know we have Alex DeBrincat who's knocking on the door of 40 goals and this and that, and that's fine. We need another one. We need another sniper, and we need some fucking defense. Trade one of our seven goalies, trade three of them, and get one good one. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just stuff like that. But I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just shooting it out of my ass, but all this shit just circulates in my head, and I just think about it with the Red Wings because I know that there's cap room too. So why would you
for
not
sure.
spend the cap?
And after after I watched that clip from Larkin a couple times, like you try and like the first time you hear the words, and then the
Mhm.
second time you try and look at the body language of what's
Yeah.
going on. And I feel like it was more of a shot toward the ownership because it feels like what you're saying, Ant, that there might have been some pans in the fire, right, to try and get
Yeah.
some things going to maybe give this team a spark. Like that's the word that Larkin used was spark. We needed a spark. We needed some
Yes.
motivation. We needed some good mojo going. Like we thought we were playing well. We need a little bit of juice to get things
Yes.
going. And if management's saying, no, you can't have this extra 10 to 15 million dollars because we'd rather wait 2 years when these kids are on their entry level contracts, that can be very frustrating as a pro athlete, right? When you're getting nickeled and dimed, I'm not saying that's what's happening, but if you feel as a player and you're the captain of that team, if you feel that you're getting nickeled and dimed and in a time where you think that maybe one or two
Mhm.
extra players would help you make a push toward the playoffs. And if this group of players wants to make the playoffs, they felt that maybe they were one or two moves away. And moving out Joe Veleno and getting Brad Smith and Peter Mrazek. Sorry, I love Peter Mrazek, great, solid goaltender, not a spark, right?
Yeah.
Not a spark that can help ignite a team and help them get themselves into the playoffs. So
What
I
about
feel like
Wallman?
what's that?
Trading Jake Wallman. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, and I feel like that was because they had to dump Cap because they were trying to get Stamkos, and it's just like
Yeah.
one of the weird things that, and Tristan has a lot of thoughts about the Wallman trade too, right?
Mhm.
Because then Wallman got flipped again from San Jose to another team for less than what Detroit got for him. So it's like,
Edmonton.
yes, exactly. And so it's very difficult to kind of pinpoint who exactly Larkin is mad at. If I was to guess, he's more so mad at upper management,
Yeah, like ownership.
namely the ownership, namingly Chris Ilitch.
And
So,
if that's the case, then what I said about firing Steve, I would gladly take back, because then
yep.
I know that it's upper management, or sorry, ownership,
Hmm.
not allowing him to fucking do his job properly then. And then
Yep.
and then if that's the case, then yes, I take it back. But if they're giving him all this and do no, you get the reins and you do this, and we're still not making the playoffs, then yeah, it's time to go.
Yeah,
But
for sure. But I was surprised that he was that transparent with his feelings. Like a lot of the times those pro athletes will,
takes
they'll
a
give
set of
the
nuts,
whole hum
buddy.
media. Yeah, like yeah, they give the whole hum media answer. But if you and credit to the journalists that asked him the question too, if you don't give them an out, they won't take an out,
Mhm.
right? Like if you give them a softball question, they're going to give you a softball answer. If you ask a pointed question and not put them in a corner or anything like that, but
Yeah.
like, hey, this like what are your like like make them give an honest answer, you get answers like that. So like good journalism and good journalists and good broadcasters or whoever asked the question, that prompted that response. Was Dylan Larkin ready to give that kind of response? I think he was. He was ready to take some
Yeah.
bullets out and
Yeah.
and start popping the balloon a little bit about some people's
What
security in the organization. But
what's your
for your captain,
crazy Red Wing prediction over the summer? Like, what do you think? What could happen? Something that maybe you could see them do. Something wild.
um, I mean, I know we know that Tristan has all of the prospects. He knows, kind of like the
No, no,
timeline
no.
of
I'm
when they're
talking
going to come up.
NHL ready. Free agent
No,
signings
exactly.
or yeah.
So I'm not going to talk about our prospect pool. If I was going to say the big splash that they might need to get themselves better, um, it would be maybe going after a guy like Mitch Marner
Yeah.
or a guy like Matthew Nyes, give him an offer sheet, make that
Yeah.
team
Yeah.
overpay for him to get him back
100%.
at least. You got to push some buttons across the league because I like the way that Steve Eisman does business, but he wants his team to be more successful. Maybe he's got to take a swing, and hopefully management, I mean upper management and ownership will let him take that swing.
If you're doing that with like Marner, like what do you offer in Marner?
I mean, you and I have talked about this off the air, and the round number that we like is between 10 and 12 million for Marner
He would it
on a
would
7 or 8 year deal.
never be near 10. You would have to give him max deal. You would have to give him 8. But
Yeah, 8 years. Yeah, I was saying between 10 and 12 million per for the 8 year contract.
I'd throw almost 13 at him
Yeah,
just because the Leafs are like, I don't know. Can the Leafs give him that money? That 12, 13 million?
I'm not sure. This is just my big swing kind of a
Yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's what I
The
mean.
math
But
doesn't work out. I'm sure people that
they
that
need
are listening right now be like, "Boy, guys, you guys don't know what you're talking about because of this
whatever.
and
I
this
don't
and
give a
this."
shit.
Like, but yeah, this is fantasy booking, right? If the thing
I
that would
would
help me
too.
sell tickets is getting Mitch Marner from
Well,
from the
and that's
Leafs.
the thing, but you could build around him because he's a guy that can play on the like power play. He can play on the penalty kill. He's
Yeah.
dangerous 5-on-5 as well. He's a good setup guy, which would be good for guys like Larkin and
Hmm.
some of the snipers with the wings. So like adding a guy like that into the lineup would sure help. But if not, if it wasn't somebody like that, like I'm leaning on defense. Like we need to bring in a big dog defenseman. I know Zadorov's name's been tossed around a little bit. He's only about
Okay.
30 years old, so you could probably get a solid 3 to 4 years at least out of him.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, someone like that, someone big, mean, physical, someone that can be in the lineup every night and can chuck them. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Our guys that can chuck them aren't in the lineup every night. So having a guy like that, and not to mention he's a pretty good defenseman, and you better keep your head up coming across the blue line when that guy's on the ice because he'll rip it clean right off that guy. So
Well, Wango.
yeah. We were at a game when he played for the Flames a couple of years back, and he threw a hit on the blue line at somebody, and it put him out for the rest of the night, and it was thunderous. Like from where we were sitting, we like heard it. Like that's how hard he hit this guy. So a guy like that would be cool. I wouldn't be hating on that, but
Mhm.
or like a top end goaltender.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Because
obviously we keep fucking around this guy down in the minors and this and that, and
yeah.
he's now like sixth in line because we have 14 goalies, and it's so I would like to see that straightened out. But if we're gonna, yeah, like bring in a big dog. Like I don't know who or what has left on terms or this or that, but
Yeah.
side
This is
note
just what we
too,
would like.
Side note as well, the Islanders today said that they are not extending Lou Lamoriello on the GM or the what else they
President,
or the
president of
president.
hockey ops.
Yes, they are not extending him, so he will not be returning to the Islanders as well. So
Dan Bilesma was also let go by the Seattle Kraken today.
yeah. And also, who was the Rangers?
It was Gerard Gallant, I believe.
Okay.
Or no. Um, well, Peter Laviolette got fired.
Yeah, he got fired too. So, couple job openings in the summer too. I know Tortorella's name was tossed around as a return to New York, but who knows? But we'll deal with that in the summertime.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, other than that, bro, that's about all I got.
Okay. So Spits lose in game 7 and Larkin sounds off
Yeah.
about the Wings' lack of movement at the trade deadline. That's going to do it for our hockey discussion. I just wanted to give a tribute to someone that we lost in our community this past week before we go. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So this past week, my aunt Vicky Bondi passed away. She's not a blood relative to me, but she is my parents, one of their best friends. They've been friends for 50 years, right? My dad, Dan Hedges, his best friend, one of them anyway, is a guy named Dan Bondi, and I've always known them as Aunt Vicky and Uncle Dan. Aunt Vicky passed away this past weekend. She was in her 60s. She had a hell of a life. She was a fantastic person. Just like a string of just crazy things happened to her in her life. She got struck by lightning twice before she was 25 years old. Two separate incidents. She battled cancer twice. She got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma when she was 27 while she was pregnant with my cousin Danielle. The doctors at the time told her to terminate the pregnancy and focus on her cancer treatment. She refused. She delivered a healthy baby and then beat cancer. So that's something always be very proud of her for. Before I even knew her, she was a hero. And then when she was in her 50s, she also got breast cancer. And so she beat that as well. And then I want to say 5, 6 years ago, she had to have a triple bypass surgery and have two artificial valves put into her heart. So this woman has been through it all. She was a bus driver for many years. She was a cook at the Knights of Columbus for many years. Her daughters, Danielle and Amanda, are two very dear cousins to me. And for anyone that played ball in Harrow, Harrow, McGregor, Malden, all those little leagues there, my Aunt Vicky and my Uncle Dan were always involved there, and a lot of people knew them, and a lot of people loved her as they should. So she passed away this weekend, while I was in Florida. Got the news on the Friday. That was tough. And so the funeral will be later this week, and I just wanted to take the time to honor her life and say we love you and we miss you, Aunt Vicky. And go hit a dinger for us up in heaven and round the bases up with the Angels. Okay, so
Yeah.
thank you for everybody for all the well wishes and everything like that. It's never easy losing somebody, but people having friends like you guys to lean on and have some support makes it all better. So, and of course, she loved hockey. She loved the Leafs. She loved the Wings. She loved, she loved family, and she loved everything about being from Windsor, Essex County. She was from a big family, and a lot of beauties in that family as well too.
Oh yeah.
So, big stick taps to my Aunt Vicky.
For
Rest
sure.
in peace, and we will try and make you proud of us while you're up there watching down. Okay. So, from all of us here at HTH, thank you very much for tuning in for this long-winded episode. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. Give us a like on YouTube. Smash the subscription button.
Smash that BioSteel too.
Yep, that BioSteel code HTH podcast. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out our merch store too and give us a 5-star review. Helps us connect with sponsors and marketing. So from all of us at HTH, this is Ant and I am Brett saying so long, and we'll see you next time on Hat Trick Hockey. Good night.
I've lost my fight with time. My numbers up and up the line. I gaze at the darkness, so empty. Just looking for the light. Shout for help, but no one's there. Need a guiding hand, someone who cares. to say if I could